Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. Welcome back to Movie Monday. So at the start of the year, I started watching Star Trek for the first time. I watched the first 6 films. I enjoyed at least half of them. And then recently I've watched the next 4 films in the Next Generation, and those were good as well, with Captain Picard. I still prefer the original crew though. The original crew, Captain Kirk and Spock. They are my guys, and obviously the rest of the crews as well. But yeah, I enjoyed both eras, and watching them for the first time in 2024 has been a good experience. Now it's time to watch the 3 newer movies in a new, different generation. I know Chris Pine stars in it, I know that. It looks like Spock is back. Zoe Saldana's in this, and I forgot the other guy's name, but I know that guy's name, the Asian guy. I can't remember his name, but I do recognize him. But anyway, also Simon Pegg's in this as well. And I think it's Zachary Quinto. I think that's the guy I'm talking about. I'm just looking at the cast right now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if it'll be as good as the previous 2 generations, but I'm still looking forward to it. I like Chris Pine a lot as well, so I'm looking forward. Like, this cast looks solid just from looking at a few names. But yeah, I was gonna do Mad Max this week, you know, because I was gonna do like, oh, I'll do something else for a bit, then come back to Star Trek just like I did last time. Then I thought, you know what? I'm in the mood to finish Star Trek first, but I wanted to watch Mad Max because I watched Furiosa recently, really liked it, and I want to see Mad Max again. But I've got the 4K Blu-ray, and to do an episode I want to do it with my TV. It's a 4K TV with Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, any fancy word you can think of for a 4K TV, it has it, apart from 3D, of course, it doesn't have 3D. But regardless, it is a very good television, and I got a nice 4K Blu-ray collection, and they look amazing. Most of them do anyway. Some of them, it's not a good 4K copy, but regardless, I have Mad Max on 4K. I want to watch it on that TV, and today they're just not, like, there's not enough time, shall we say, for that. So I thought I'd just chill with my computer and watch Star Trek again. But yeah, Star Trek 2009, it's just over 2 hours long. The brash James T. Kirk, just a reboot, tries to live up to his father's legacy. Oh, it's a sequel. With Mr. Spock keeping him in check as a vengeful Romulan from the future creates black holes to destroy the Federation one planet at a time. Alright, so the Romulans once again are the villains, and they look like they want to destroy the universe. And you got James T. Kirk. You got Captain Kirk's son, James T. Kirk, who has Spock by his side. I am sold already. I'm sold already. But yeah, I hope it's good. Obviously, these movies came out 2009, 2013, and 2016. Obviously, a lot later than the previous films, which came out late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm expecting a big jump in technology in terms of the effects. I'm hoping it looks good. Hoping these movies look good. Still, even back then, like, the technology wasn't quite the same as it is in 2024. Obviously, Avatar came out in 2009 as well, and that one was like a big. It was like, oh, look at these new 3D effects. It was like a groundbreaking movie for visuals, that film. So, but still, 2009 compared to like early 2000s, late 90s, you should expect really a much higher effect quality. Even though the effects look great in the previous ones, I'm expecting a bit of a jump there. In terms of quality of film, well, obviously I'm going to judge that for myself, but the cast is good, and I'm hoping for a good story. And I feel like they picked some good villains to start off a new era. I'm surprised there's not more though. I feel like there's been talk of a sequel for a while, and it's just not happened. I'm curious about what's happening there. But anyway, enough of me talking. It's been 4 minutes. I'll tell you a few of my thoughts as I watch this and rate it at the end. Let's do this. How does Chris Hemsworth look so young in this? Like, this was only like 2 years before the first Thor movie, and it seems like he hasn't aged since that movie until 2024. But it looked like he aged between 2009 and 2011. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's just his look and everything. I don't know. But yeah, he is one of the Kirks. I thought it was the original Kirk's son, but that wouldn't make any sense, would it? But a descendant anyway. But yeah, he plays a Captain Kirk who dies at the start of the film. To be fair, it might be a reboot then, if that's the case. It might be a reboot. A different timeline where it is the same Kirk, but it's a different actor. but it is that legendary Kirk, and Chris Hemsworth plays him. But anyway, he has a son. The baby is born when he dies. Essentially, he hears the baby cry. He names the baby, and sadly dies. And I've just seen, we're watching the kid drive down Iowa now. This is him. So I'm assuming this is the kid that grows up to be Chris Hemsworth's not Chris Hemsworth, sorry. I messed that up. Chris Pine's character. This kid is Chris Pine, is what, yeah. I got the idea. The villains do seem quite menacing, and yes, the effects are good. So it's a good start. Only 13 minutes in. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down the cast list, and it is solid. Carl Urban's in this. John Cho's in this. I think John Cho's the one I was talking about earlier, actually. Ben Cross, Winona Ryder's in this. Jennifer Morrison. Farhan Tahir, I saw him already. He was the guy from Iron Man. That's how I remember him, to be honest. the villain from Iron Man. Yeah, just scrolling down, there's just... Yeah, they really went all out with the cast in this. It's also a new Spock. It's Spock, it looks like Spock, but it's a new character and a new actor. I should have known that, to be honest, when I said in the intro that, oh, they brought Spock back. Kind of. I haven't forgotten what happened to him in the individual movies, don't worry. It's an interesting character, Chris Pine's Kirk, because he doesn't seem to care that much about his family lineage or the Starfleet. He's just, you know, messing around, having fun, and getting into fights in bars. He's very much unlike the OG Captain Kirk that we've seen. Like, in a way, the opposite, just, you know, without being a complete villain, but definitely not a good guy when you see him at the start of the film. And I also see the similar with Spock, who has a lot of emotions, and you see Spock get into a fight as well. And I feel like that's quite interesting. You're seeing Kirk and Spock having like a similar sort of... I mean, Spock is a bit different, because he actually, he wants to be in Starfleet, but still, they both have these, they both have a past that's pretty messy. So I'm intrigued by that. But yeah, it's not what I expected from Chris Pine's character. But I'm guessing he grows into this bigger, better character over the film, and I'll see more of, you know, what you see. Because I always, like, when I search Star Trek, I see images of certain things. And the Chris Pine at the start of this film is not the Chris Pine I see in the posters. So I'm interested to see his growth over the movie. I do like seeing characters grow and change. And this has got a lot of potential. Carl Urban does not look as intimidating as he does in The Boys. That scene with the green alien is intriguing. I always wonder in films when you get these sci-fi movies, whether it's Star Trek or even Marvel with Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, whenever you see in fact, Guardians is a good comparison because you got Chris Pratt and a green alien. But anyway, when humans mate with, I'm gonna keep it PG, when humans mate with aliens, do they have some sort of safety checks before doing that? You know how with another person you use a condom for protection or whatever. Is there something like that for aliens? I always, obviously they're not going to specify that in films like this, but I've always when I know it's fictional, I get it, but I'm still curious. When a human gets with an alien in a film, does no one address the fact that they're a different species completely, and it could be completely unsafe? I'm just saying. I know it's just a film. I know, but it just intrigues me. I love how they literally got a Chekhov as well. They got a modern day Chekhov. Fair enough. Bringing all these new characters that are all just, I guess, descendants of the originals. I like it. I do like it, but I'm just I was just oh, we've seen Kirk, we've seen Spock. I was just oh, they did a Chekhov as well. I love how Kirk knew about the Romulan ambush. He tried to warn them. Unfortunately, they were already warping there anyway, but they've got themselves into a trap now. But yeah, it's the story's escalating now. and these Romulans are not part of the Roman Empire. They stand alone, separate, and they are very angry and vengeful. It's certainly very. It's got me. It's got me hooked so far. So they better keep it up and stick to landing. Damn, the argument between Kirk and Spock to work out to take down Nero. Well, their captain is captured, and now he's been exiled to this random ice planet. Kirk has. But yeah, it turns out, well, it seems it's a theory right now, but it does make sense based on what I heard Nero say to the captain he's got hostage. Like, he said to him, I lost my wife and child, I was working, I was away from the planet, and the Federation did nothing while my planet was destroyed. I lost my family. So he has like a compelling backstory, shall we say. We've ticked that box. So he has a reason why he's so angry. And he watches world get destroyed. And the captain says to him, it's not been destroyed, it's still out there. It didn't happen. And Nero responds to him angrily, yes, it did happen, I saw it with my own eyes. I'm just like, so what did he see then? And then, over back on the ship, Spock says, they could be from the future. Like, he didn't say that himself, Carl Urban said that. That is what he suggested in technical terms. These villains are actually from the future, and the planet gets destroyed in the future. It does make sense. It makes sense. I'm liking what they're doing with this storyline. And introducing this red creature's scary, chasing him down. Introducing time travel will probably mean that, you know, their timeline changes, which they alluded to in this. So their destinies would have changed because certain events would have changed. The future will definitely be changed. So I'm very intrigued by how that's gonna go down, because obviously time travel. Obviously we had time travel before in Star Trek, but still, a villain that can time travel is a big problem, and a villain that wants to destroy every planet of the Federation, including Earth. This should be interesting. There's less than an hour left. And this red creature is scary AF. It looks like it's from Stranger Things. What on earth? What is that mouth? Oh my days. The OG Spock just turned up. And he's also from the future. And he's really old now. So he's from the same future that Nero's from. And essentially a star exploded, which I assume is the sun. I'm guessing the sun exploded, went supernova, started destroying planets, of course. I mean, obviously that would happen. And Spock promised, in the future of course, he promised to save Romulus, and he failed. He didn't get there in time. So Nero blamed him solely for the loss of his planet. So now it makes a bit more sense why because he's vengeful towards Spock specifically, so now I get it. So he banished Spock, because Spock made it to the future, made it to the past, but even though it took him a few more seconds, because Nero got there first, he had to wait 25 years, even though it was a few seconds for Spock, which it takes some getting used to that. But yeah, Nero captured Spock, decided to send him down to this ice planet because he wanted him to watch while he destroyed this planet. So, because he wanted Spock to know his pain. So yeah, it's a very deep story, and I'm happy to see that version of Spock again. But it makes me think. I literally just made a Google search just now. I tend to Google things quite a lot when I watch films, when I like to learn about them. I'm just like, wait, if this is the actor for the original Spock, and he's from the future, are these films prequels? So I googled, is Star Trek 2009 a prequel? Apparently it's not. Apparently it's a alternate timeline. So it can be a prequel, but it's like a different timeline to the rest of the Star Trek films. And I guess the time travel is what changed it to a different timeline. But it's like an alternate timeline. So in a way it's like a reboot. Like, I thought it was a prequel, but it doesn't count. I don't think it's a prequel, but it's like a alternate. Okay, I get it now. I get it. I guess that was explaining the time travel anyway, but the sun will still explode in this timeline, right? I know it's many years in the future, but still. Like, I don't know if they'll change that part. Change the course of how everyone's future will go, which is quite intriguing. Hence the reboot, I guess. So, yeah. I'm surprised it's not, again, I'm surprised it's not more than 3. But I'll continue to watch. Well, I've just been introduced to Simon Pegg, and he's funny as ever. And he's playing Scotty. They've really made a new generation character for every OG Star Trek character. We got a Scotty, we got a Chekhov, we got Spock, we got Kirk. Where else are we going, mate? I forgot to add, by the way, it's not 2 different Spocks, it is the same Spock. It's just that the OG Spock with the OG actor, he is the current Spock from the future. I forgot to add that in the context of what I was saying in terms of like, why did I Google, what is it a prequel? Because they got the OG actor to come back in time, and he's playing the same character as this young Spock that we see, who is a bit more aggressive towards Kirk. And I'm just like, interesting. I love the way that Kirk finally finds out what Uhura's first name is, Neoda. Just the context of him finding out is just funny. But yeah, it's escalated quite far. Kirk needs to be captain of the ship to basically take control of it, because he has to be in control of the ship apparently, according to future Spock. Yeah, if they're gonna defeat Nero. So he has to anger the current Spock to the point of beating him up, and so he has to lose control of his ship, and then Kirk becomes captain because he was made first officer by Captain Pike, who was kidnapped. Why is it always San Francisco? Why is it always when someone wants to attack Earth, it's in San Francisco in Star Trek? Why is it always there? Apparently they got a 4.3% chance of succeeding. That's good odds. That's good. That's better odds than the Avengers had in Endgame. So we're good. We're good. It's so funny how near the start of this video I was saying, oh, he's playing a descendant of William Shatner's Kirk. He's playing a descendant. Nah, he's playing him. Just in a different alternate reality. Many years before. So Spock is now meeting future alternate reality Spock. Does this not also affect the space-time continuum? I guess time travel, when time travel is involved. How it works depends on the franchise. That's what we learned. It's molded to fit the plot of the movie. So who knows how this one works. But it is a bit more simple, I guess, than the Marvel one, for example. And the movie is over. I enjoyed that. That was good. Like, for a new generation of Star Trek, that was a good return. It was solid. I enjoyed it throughout. Characters were good, as I expected, really, from such a good cast anyway. But still, the characters were good. Clearly, they knew what they were doing with this project, so yeah, I like it quite a lot. I'm just like, yeah, really enjoyed it. Just like I said with the last 4 movies, you know, I still prefer the originals, but obviously there's just one movie in. But for what it is, it's bloody awesome. If I was to rank, I don't know, I'm not going to rank them yet. I don't even remember what ratings I gave all of them. I might even change ratings. I was going to rate it. That's what I was meant to say. Rate it 8 out of 10. I think it was a solid movie that was very enjoyable to watch. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, and the climax was interesting too, and yeah, the effects do look like they're years later. So yeah, that's great, and I assume that it'll only get better. Into Darkness is next, which is quite interesting because I almost watched it on holiday in Sri Lanka years ago with my granddad. We wanted to go to cinema to watch a movie, and we almost watched Into Darkness, but instead we watched World War Z. So I'm glad I didn't watch that, because that would have been a Star Trek movie out of context with so many entries before it. I would have been lost back then, but yeah, I'll be watching that next week, thankfully for the first and the second time. But the fact that I almost watched that is crazy. But then again, if I did watch that, then, you know, I might watch the rest of them earlier, so, and it would not be on YouTube right now, so I guess maybe we're in an alternate reality right now. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and goodbye. There is no credit scene, right? No, I don't think there is.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time. time wherever you're